If you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, in sales, or just have a lot of passions, you've probably said this to yourself multiple times. I don't have enough time to do X or Y. I would love to do this today, but I don't have enough time. And this is one of the most common limiting beliefs that entrepreneurs end up telling themselves early on in their career. But it happens really at any point in your life. This is a topic I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to break free from. And I want to share with you today some of my logic that I utilize to reframe this concept so it doesn't stop you from accomplishing your goals. So if you're someone who said this to yourself before, then you're definitely going to want to listen to this. So to set the framework here, we need to understand what a limiting belief is. Ultimately, that's something that you inherently believe to be true that impacts your decision-making, your time allocation, and ultimately the effectiveness of your goals. There have been so many different case studies on this topic. There was one done, I don't know the exact species of fish, but they essentially put a fish, I want to say it was a piranha, on one side of a fish tank. They put a glass wall in between that fish and the bait. For several weeks, that fish attacked that center wall. Eventually, the fish got discouraged. They took the glass out of the middle, but what did the fish do? It had this belief that there was an object in the way that would stop them from getting the bait. The bait was right there was no wall, but they didn't have the belief that they could actually go and get it. And this is the same concept that we're talking about here in business. They've done several different studies on other animals and insects. Fleas was one that I thought was super interesting. They put a bunch of fleas in a jar. They put a cap on top. So for the first several hours, several days, the fleas jumped up and down trying to get out of the jar, but they kept hitting the ceiling. After a few days, they took the lid off and the fleas could never jump out of the jar. Not because they're not capable, but because of this belief that there was a ceiling that they couldn't pass. The same thing happens with you in your business. The one I see most often that I've really honed in personally on recently is the idea of you don't have enough time. Because the thing with time is that you might not have the time available to do one of the things that you're looking to accomplish, but that's not a function of time. That's a function of your priority, your ability to time manage, and your systems. If you have a time problem, it's not actually that there's only 24 hours in the day. Everyone only gets 24 hours. But what you're able to accomplish in that day falls back on your priorities, your decisions, and your systems. Because there are people out there who own thousands of companies. They still have the same amount of time that you do. Some of them stop working at 5. Some go on vacation for 2 weeks. Some put their phones away at dinner. So how is this possible? Well, it's reframing the idea that there's not enough time, but rather, how can I best utilize the time I have to accomplish the things that are most important to me and put myself in a position where I'm able to do more, but not have to work more. I heard this recently. I was actually talking to a friend of mine, and he's looking to get into running. He said, I would love to run, but I don't have time to train. I said, bullshit. Yes, you do. You just need to create the time. What time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? He's like, I go to bed at 12 o'clock at night. I wake up around 8:30, get ready for work, I leave at 9. There's your problem. What happens after 10? There are people who are productive at night, but more often than not, that last 2 hours is spent wasted. From 10 to 12 at night, what are you really doing? He's like, I'm catching up on my shows, I'm on social media. Okay, all things that don't actively work towards your goal. Let's pick up that 2 hours at night by going to bed 2 hours early, wake up at 6 instead of 8, and you just found yourself an hour and a half, 2 hours to run. But you have to reshift your priorities. And if you're someone who is accomplishing all of those things, let's say you're already accomplishing your goals in the gym, you have a lot of personal time, but the rest of time you have left for work isn't enough to get done what you're looking to accomplish. Well, you need to reallocate those hours that you're setting towards work to be towards tasks that actually help you improve your leverage. It's no longer about how effective you are at the task, but how much leverage do you have? Like, do you have other people to help you? And for me, this was really interesting in 2 respects. Number one, I first looked at all of the tasks that I was doing and the amount of time I was allocating towards them, but my effectiveness. Because an hour of work is not the same for everyone. If you sit at your desk for an hour, that hour can look so much different from day to day, from person to person. Are you actually putting every ounce into the work that you're doing? Or are you in part looking at social media, doing one task, checking your emails, going back to that task? Or are you actually locked in and effective at the task you're doing? Because if you can create an environment and a mindset where there are no distractions that will disengage you from creating that outcome, accomplishing that task, that's step one. You need to be highly effective at the task that you're doing. Because if you're doing 15, 20 things at once, you're not as effective across the board. Everyone's had those days with like, wow, I worked so hard today, but I don't know what I did. That's a calendar management, that's a time management problem. But within that time frame, if your goal is to grow and scale, create leverage, create that delegation that allows you to do more without working more, then you need to take control of your calendar. There should be daily and weekly priorities that directly align with that goal that are non-negotiables. And I'm speaking from personal experience. Everyone, including myself, has had something on their calendar that they put as a commitment to their self that they've moved. It's 100% inevitable. From 3 to 5 today, I'm going to make 500 phone calls or whatever metric you set, 5 phone calls to referral partners. Or I'm going to work on marketing for an hour. I'm time blocking, but you end up just changing the calendar. Don't do that. Commit to the things that are important to you. And during that time, don't get distracted. Make sure you put those time blocks in your calendar that are aligning towards that goal of leverage. So for example, if you're someone who says, well, I don't have enough time to increase my business capacity because I've already maximized my day. Maybe you work from 5 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night. There's no other time left. Okay, fair. You've already improved your effectiveness. When I'm working, I am working. I have no distractions. I'm 100% effective. And I have a structure for how I do my work to be most effective. So we've maximized your output through your effectiveness. Your time blocking's created a calendar that allows you to focus on your priorities. But now we need leverage. So then one of those tasks in your daily and weekly schedule should be allocated towards that. For me, 1 hour a day, every single day. It's usually before the day starts from 7 to 8 in the morning after I go to the gym. I have an hour set for systems. So I look through my business, I look through my personal life, whether that be my property management, real estate, loans, podcasting, social media, networking, whatever my objective is for that week, I have an hour a day set aside to improve my systems. Because if I can improve my systems, I can put less off of my plate and delegate the inefficiencies. But if you don't take the time to analyze it, you're never going to make progress. But that for me is a non-negotiable. I've done that for the past 3 or 6 months, and now I'm at a position where I've created the system, recognized the inefficiencies, and my new daily task is focused on hiring. So an hour a day, I focus on either an interview with a new candidate, improving a system for a potential new hire, creating processes for onboarding so that I can continue to progress towards that position. That might mean meeting with my accountant. That might mean creating a budget. How much can I afford for a salary? Doing research. What does a salary role for this type of position go for in the market? How much do I have to pay them? Conducting that research, right? If I were to onboard them, what systems, what software do I need? Are they going to control the same CRM that I have? Should I look into a new CRM? How are we going to communicate? Are they going to use a Slack channel? Are we going to be on a Trello board? Where's our task management? So that hour a day, progress from something small. First, identifying the areas I need to be more effective at, controlling my calendar based on the objectives I'm looking to accomplish, and my priorities for the day and for the week, to ultimately, now they're focused on just the more developed part of that, right? Hiring, actually implementing those systems, the onboarding, the research. That's just one example. But if you're someone who kicks yourself every day because you don't get to the gym, because you don't have enough time, everyone has the same amount of time in a day. So the person who goes to the gym in the morning, every single day at the same time, is no different than you. They just have different priorities, and they structure their day around those things first. So don't let yourself believe that you can't accomplish things because you don't have enough time. You're just not using your time most effectively. And I think entrepreneurs fall in this cycle because there will always be those things to do. But you have to ask yourself, do I need to be the one to do those? Is there someone I could hire that would replace those tasks? What things do you enjoy the most? On the last episode, we talked about identifying opportunities within your schedule, within your task list that you don't enjoy doing. So you need to take those and find opportunities within your day, within your week to work towards them consistently. This can't be something you do one time. Just like going to the gym. If you want to be in shape, if you want to be strong, have a six-pack, whatever your goal is, if you only do it one time, look at fitness. You'll never achieve that goal. People who are consistently in the gym are the only ones who are going to be in shape and have, strength, right? It's the same thing with business. The entrepreneur who accomplishes the goal of having an assistant and a team around them is no different than you. They just consistently put in the work on the things that are their top priority that actually move the needle forward. Plain and simple. If you are able to set those times in your calendar and map out your schedule, but you can't follow them, well, that's a commitment issue. Like, you need to look internally, like, why can't I honor the things that I set in my calendar? The way I look at it, the commitments I make to myself are my top priority. If I say I'm going to do business planning from 6 to 8 in the morning, the only choice is to honor that commitment. If I say I'm going to the gym at 5 o'clock, I'm going to the gym at 5 o'clock. If I don't want to go to the gym at 5 o'clock, doesn't matter, right? It's a non-negotiable. Just like if I had a client meeting at 5, would I cancel this meeting on my client? If this meeting was with the biggest potential referral opportunity of my lifetime, would I cancel the meeting? If the answer is no, I'm not canceling the gym, because that's the same commitment to me. The business commitments I make are the same ones I make to myself personally, and you have to honor it and show up on the days that you don't want to. I know I went off a little bit of a tangent there, but don't give yourself those limiting beliefs and don't set the bar too low. If you believe that you're someone who won't be able to own a company or won't be able to have an assistant, build out teams, scale, be able to make money and not have to work as much as you are now, you're no different than the fly stuck in the jar. So hopefully you took something from today's episode. Looking forward to future conversations. We'll actually, hopefully, on the next show, be able to talk more about my second and third hire for the team. See you on the next one.